Good morning and welcome to Today in LA. My name's Mike Amos. His name is Bill Rice Jr. As we get ready for our Monday right here on our show. And of course we go out on Facebook live this morning across the country, across the nation. And of course we're led by a man who's very, very good at what he does, is Steve Camp. Good morning, Mr. Rice. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Mike.
If you like Justin Thomas, you're doing real good, aren't you?
Well, I liked him. I liked him because he's an Alabama golfer. He's now won 14 tournaments. Well, probably surpassed Jerry Pate as the most accomplished former Alabama golfer, and he's only 28. But he's now won a Players. He's won one major, I think the PGA. He won a FedEx Championship. And he won a big one yesterday. I was pulling hard for him.
And he came from way back with a sizzling round. What?
Well, he was, after he barely made the cut.
That's
he
right.
was, after 9 holes on Friday, he was behind the cut line, and then he rallied, and I think he was 1 under. He was about 10 or 11 shots back. 8 or 9 shots back going into the weekend, and then on Saturday he shot an 8 under 64, and that popped him right up to the top of the leaderboard. I was telling you that on Friday night you could have got 50-1 odds that Justin Thomas would win the tournament. I thought that was somebody begging you to take that bet if you got a golfer as talented as Justin Thomas.
Exactly, and of course. Lee Westwood, the old man, you would call him an old man. He's 48, I think I want to say, and he led most of the entire round, and looked like a shoe-in for it. And here comes Justin Thomas, the University of Alabama grad, to steal it away from him.
Yeah, Justin probably needed that. You know, he lost one of his big sponsorships this year. He said a word under his breath that was offensive to a lot of people.
Did he really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. After he missed a putt, he said a word like we've all said in golf. And now everybody's so sensitive in this woke society we have.
You got to be careful what you say on this
show. Polo was one of his big sponsors. You know, he wore the polo shirts.
Yeah, you're right.
And the next day, Justin Thomas was no longer a polo sponsor, and no telling how much money that cost him.
You're right. And you got to be careful these days. And and of course, rightfully so. We don't want to be offensive to anybody. My buddy Drew Brees is calling it quits.
Is he your buddy? He's
my buddy.
Go way back.
Yeah, he and I go way back. On this show, I can call him a buddy, but he was one of my all-time favorites, and he.
I liked him too. I think everybody likes Drew Brees. He carries himself.
He was 42 years old, and they say he's going into the box with the TV people, so
if I was
he'll be close to it.
That's gonna be a little easier work than practicing football every day of the week and getting hit by 300-pound people that can run really fast.
That's a good way to look at it. Of course, we got the Final Four not the Final Four, but the March Madness layout here this morning. We're going to be able to let you know who's going where and whatever else you need to know about the Final Four as we. March Madness looks like it's going to be smooth so far.
Knock on wood. It's going to be different. They're going to lock down, put every team in a bubble up near Indianapolis.
All right, now this is one that's going to tickle me. It's in the every year you've got a few layovers that you're going to have a tournament game on Thursday. And I want to mention who got those bids. Norfolk State is playing Appalachian State, so that's out of Sun Belt. Mount St. Mary's is playing Texas Southern. Wichita State is playing Drake. And Michigan State is having to play UCLA. That surprises me how that worked out.
Is Appalachian State did they win the Sun Belt tournament?
Oh yeah, they won the Sun Belt tournament, and why?
And you don't even get in. You got to still get in a play-in.
That's right.
Game. What a bummer.
I know you're right. Now let's see who was the final 16. Let's see. I don't. Well, actually, I see 15, but I don't see 16. Well, that's going to be how it's going to work out.
At least they play another team that they should be able to win. Yeah. Norfolk State.
Each one of these games, these 4 games, will dictate on who represents who in the final 16.
Question, teacher.
16.
I'm going to put a question. What about the Lady Trojans? Where are they?
The Lady Trojans will know tonight where they're going. They're having a big to-do, and this is something that we want to invite all of you to, is at the Trojan Arena tonight, starting around 5:30, 5 o'clock, whatever time you can get there after work. They're going to have a selection gathering.
Good.
And Troy is among the finals in the women's tournament, and we'll find out tonight actually who they play and where they play.
The conjecture was last week that Troy would be seeded 14th and play a number 3 seed, but we'll see. I think they've got a resume that they could be higher than 14th, in my opinion, but we'll see.
Yeah. Mike Amos will be coming in around 30, right at the 7:30 time. He's out and about this morning. And, of course, we've got baseball. Troy dropped the best of 2 series against Tulane, a good Tulane team. Mm-hmm. Troy lost the first one 5-1, and then came back and won the second one. I want to say 12 or 13 to 2, and looked like world beaters in that game. And then, of course, they came back yesterday, and Tulane was just too much. Tulane had a very good baseball team, and Troy loses the best 2 out of 3 series. But it was a good series.
At least we
I'm
got
sure
one.
Coach Smart found out a lot about his team this weekend, and hopefully they'll learn from it. And they've got Alabama, but you know what? It doesn't look good.
Mike, Mr. Trojan,
no,
the biggest...
No, where they play the game. Tomorrow it's supposed to be rainy.
Oh, okay. I thought it was Thursday. It's tomorrow.
And I want to say it's tomorrow, but I feel confident it's
You're
tomorrow.
probably right.
But, it was a game that a lot of the spectators would love to see, and it was also a game that Troy would try to get back at them after losing 9-1 to them. And I sort of doubt that if they'll get it in, and hopefully they'll reschedule. But it's hard to get a game in midweek, now.
Well, it's just a 2.5-hour drive. But yeah, that would be a big disappointment if that game was canceled.
Yeah, and it's a chance because there is forecast heavy rain in here on Tuesday, and we'll just have to wait and see. Maybe Stevie, our weatherman up there, can do something to let us know.
Well, don't you think we need to brag about Alabama's basketball team?
Yep, Alabama will be playing. In fact, they're what are they? A 4 seed? A 2 seed. They're a 2 seed in their bracket, and Alabama won a thriller. If you were watching last night, 80-79.
Let's put it in perspective. I'm 55 years old. Alabama last won an SEC tournament championship in 1992, which is 28 years ago.
Yeah.
Maybe 29. So that is over half of my life. So this is rare. I mean, you remember at one point Alabama took these tournament championships for granted because they won so many in the Wimp Sanderson era. And then it's just the point I always make, Mike. You can be on top of the world and think you're always going to be here, and then you turn around and it's 3 decades before you do it again. But at least I lived to see it again.
Oh yeah, it's going to be fun. Old Wimp, I'm gonna try to get old Wimp on the phone. He and some of these folks around here are pretty good friends, and Wimp Sanderson in basketball is probably it just don't get no better than this. We're playing in a situation where a lot of people think that Alabama can go all the way to the Final Four.
I think so, but also I think they can get beat any game. You look at the SEC tournament; they blew out Mississippi State. Then they play Tennessee, and they're down by 15, I think, against Tennessee.
Yeah.
They fight back and just win by 5, but that game was up for grabs with 30 seconds left. Yeah. And then they play LSU, and that game is a nail biter the whole way through.
Oh, yeah.
It was close. I've never seen a game that stayed as close as that.
And we're playing against Ricky Pitino too. That has a lot to do with the first game. He got back into coaching this year after a long layoff, sabbatical. I would say. Yeah.
Well, that sends shivers down Alabama fans' spines because old-time Alabama basketball fans remember the 1986. 87
Providence,
team.
Playing Providence.
That's right, with Derek McKee and Jim Farmer and Mark Gottfried and Terry Connor. I can name them all. Best Alabama basketball team I've ever seen, maybe. And they get blown out by Rick Pitino's Providence in the Sweet 16.
We had a guy that was a pretty good player on that team. Later on coached at Florida was one of the what's his name?
Billy Donovan.
Billy Donovan, yeah. Donovan was on that.
Alabama
Providence
plays
team.
Anybody else in the country on that day, and they've got a good chance of winning, but not Providence.
You're exactly right. Of course, we got a lot to talk about, and we're waiting. Of course, Troy gets back on the practice field and getting ready for a April 10th game here in Troy. The spring game is April 10th. Alabama finished with 24-6. That's one of the more outstanding records I can ever remember. What do you think?
Yes, in an abbreviated season, 24-6.
But you know what? If Alabama's not shooting a three, hey, they just like any other team. This is a team very similar to the teams we used to watch with Troy, where they just shoot everything from 3 points. Everything from 3 points. They're looking at the odds. 3 points against 2 points.
It's fascinating to listen to the coach talk. He's an old math teacher, so he uses math and logic, and he's running the numbers, and it's either shoot a good 3-pointer or shoot in the lane near the basket. He says that's where you're going to win the ball game. That's where you should be taking your shots. But I will say that even if the 3-pointers aren't falling, Alabama has won a lot of games. And where do they win it, Mike? What wins games for you?
Defense.
Defense. Obviously, they play good defense.
Yeah.
And Coach Maestry's Troy teams were, when they wanted to, they could stay in low-scoring games because they could play defense.
Yeah. We do promise you that we're going to have Don Maestry on our show before they
He'd be great to
kick
talk
it
to
off.
him now.
Exactly, yeah. Love to have him. If we had his phone number or somebody knows his phone number, shoot it in here to us, and we'll call him this morning. Of course, Cecil Hurt has watched Alabama basketball for 30 years.
At least.
And I would think what he
probably
said.
40.
Of course, this is a team that is, they say Herb Jones, who scored the eventual winning basket with 19 seconds to go, was just one hero out of a bunch of heroes for Alabama. That's what I think is so impressive. They don't do it with just one or two players.
Yeah, right.
They have
on any given game.
I would say they've got 8 players that give them a good shot every time.
On any given day, it could be one of 8 players that's the star. You're right.
Exactly, and of course, right now it's outside. It's just 58 degrees, and looks to be another pleasant day. Now, Charles Henderson is on break, or are they another week?
Another week. They go on spring break, I guess, Saturday. And next week they'll.
Pike County is
Pike
already.
County and Pike. I thought Pike County and Pike Lib were the same as Troy City.
Well, for some reason I want to say
I might be wrong.
That's a good one. We need to find out. We need to make a call, and find out if Pike County is on vacation this week. Is that right? Or this week or next week?
Surely they would. Pike County and Troy City Schools would coordinate.
And Pike Liberal Arts, of course, also. And I know they're not on break, are they? I don't think so.
I better not speculate. I just, you know what I say about making an assumption, but it just seems that it would make sense to have them all off at the same time.
Yeah. Well, you know, some people have good brackets and some people don't. This is the Montgomery Advertisers bracket. Now, that's thorough, isn't it? And of course, you know, everybody's starting to fill out their brackets, and you know, it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to look at some kind of contest here, but it's so difficult to do that. You could have one little old game that somebody upset somebody, and it just knocked the whole thing off.
Well, it's also how you score it. There's lots of ways you could score it. You know,
do a look in on that and see what you can find on the easiest and best way to do it.
Sports Radio 740, John and Barry, they have a March Madness bracket that's a lot of fun. I play every year. You know, one year I won a pool when I worked at Cumulus Radio in Montgomery. One of our people got a pool together and got about 20 people in it. You know, we all put $10 up, and I remember I won it that year.
You know, Gonzaga is the number one team coming into this March Madness, and of course they should. They're 26-0, and you know, I think they've had just one or maybe two close calls. And but you know, I was looking at Alabama. They would have to eventually beat Gonzaga in their bracket to advance to the Final Four, well, or they could play Gonzaga in the Final Four. Here's Alabama way down here in the 2 seed. They're the 2 seed in the East bracket. East. So we'll be watching this and. Again, we've got games. Well, let's see. When will they play the Michigan State St. Mary's game?
Those playing games.
No,
I think
UCLA, Michigan
Tuesday
State,
or
UCLA.
something. I remember. I mean, the games go like this. You have Thursday and Saturday games, and then you have Friday and Sunday games. It's mini tournaments. So the first tournament is to see who goes to the Sweet 16. If you can put together two wins, you go to the Sweet 16.
And of course, you know, you got Appalachian State. This is going to be a good measuring stick for the Sun Belt. You know, Appalachian State's the only team in it, and they're in the what do you call it? A
play-in game.
Yeah, play-in game to see who's going to be the 16th seed in each division or each bracket. So this is quite a game. Michigan State, who has been a great team for years, and they're in the play-in against UCLA, another one of the great teams in basketball history. UCLA. So that right there is a game a lot of people are going to be watching.
You know,
and then Norfolk State and Appalachian State go at it, and then of course Appalachian State 17-11, and out of the Sun Belt, and if they could beat Norfolk State and at least make it to the Sweet 16 in their bracket.
Well, that gets the Sun Belt some money, or get Appalachian State some money. You get a huge check just for making it. I think you make more money every win you get and every round you go.
Yes, and Drake and Wichita State. Look at Drake; they're 25-4 in their bracket, and
is that named after Basil and Sam?
Yeah, that's right. And then Texas Southern going up against Mount St. Mary's, and Mount St. Mary's is 12-10. So it's going to be interesting, and of course, the reason we're throwing out this first four is what a historic game that is between Michigan State and UCLA.
Well, UCLA had the best run in college sports history when they had John Wooden. Didn't they win 7 national championships in a row? It was something amazing. And then they won like 9 in 11 years. It's just an amazing record.
Yeah.
But it's, the sports historian I am. I want to know, when was UCLA's last national championship in basketball? I think they did get one more about 15, 20 years ago. But I think that since Wooden's left, I bet you they've only had 1 national championship. So see how it can go away? You just don't take it for granted.
Exactly right. No question about it. But I tell you what, that was a tremendous thing that they did. How many straight games did Wooden win at one time?
Oh gosh, that's good. I think he a lot. I think Notre Dame beat him.
I want to say 80-something. I might be wrong, but
I think I was watching that game at my grandparents' house in Troy, and I want to say it was Notre Dame and Digger Phelps that beat them.
And they had a great shooter on that team, and I can't remember that Notre Dame team that beat them. And they always had a big game against Houston. You remember that? Houston.
No, national champion. No, they had a huge. You're right.
And Houston had that big center.
It wasn't the national championship game. It was just a regular season game.
Yeah, that's right. Maybe so. But
in the Astrodome.
But nobody has dominated a sport probably like UCLA did, and of course, they did it first with Al Sunder, or of course they called it back then. He was Al Sunder. Now he's
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and then later on, Bill Walton was all 4 years, and all 4 years with Abdul-Jabbar.
He followed Abdul-Jabbar, but yeah, it was.
I mean, what I'm saying, that made up 8 years right there.
But I don't. Some of those years, freshmen were ineligible, so those great players could only play for 3 years.
Yeah, but it was great to watch it, and even though UCLA just dominated things back then. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back.
At the Piggly Wiggly, we proudly support our local farmers and bring you the best they have to offer, all at cost plus 10%. When you shop local, you reinvest in your community. Remember, buy local, shop local. Piggly Wiggly, local since forever.
Our history is woven with the stories of those we serve. At Max, we've been a good community partner for 65 years. Max is dedicated to providing dependable financial services and to supporting our communities. We volunteer our time and share our resources. As a credit union, we've returned millions of dollars back to our members, local nonprofits, and small businesses. Max is honored to be a part of your story. We look forward to serving you for years to come.
Hi, Sandy. I'm right here. Come on in.
Daddy, I'm right here. Hello, Miss Mary. I'm right here. Right here.
Since 1969, we've been right here because at Troy Regional Medical Center, we take these words to heart.
I'm right here. Thank you.
Remarkable people, remarkable care.
Troy Cable Security Wi-Fi doorbell camera allows you to answer the door from your smartphone when you are at home, at work, or on the go. When a visitor presses the button, Troy Cable Security sends a live video feed to your smartphone so you can see, hear, and speak to the person at your door. With the doorbell camera, you can have your porch light turn on automatically when it detects motion at night to create the appearance that someone is at home. You can view video clips so you can always know who stopped by when you are out. Troy Cable Security. You love them, protect them.
Here at Bill Jackson Chevrolet in Troy, we've been doing business the right way for 31 years. But don't take our word for it. We feel our customers express it the best.
Been honest in everything we've discussed with them.
When they say Jackson Satisfaction, they really mean it.
The Jackson Satisfaction is real.
This kid, what's his name?
We got
I have to
all
learn his name. Oh, we're back.
Back to our show, and we've got some news coming out of Geneva County High School of Hartford, Alabama. Geneva County High School of Hartford. And tell us about it.
Well, I wish I could remember his name, but the standout running back, either number 1 or number 2 running back in America, high school running back, committed to Alabama Saturday.
And of all places, coming out of Hartford, Alabama. And of course, Tom, my buddy, who's a State Farm agent over at Auburn, played at Auburn, Tom Bryan, I'm sure was trying to get this young man to go to Auburn.
I guess Chuck Dunn, our friend that coaches at Ayrton and knows a lot about football, he bragged about him last year and said that he was the real McCoy.
And do you know what he is physically? What, 6 foot?
Well, I got his numbers: 6'1", 190.
190.
I think I read a quote that he said his coach said he's up to 195. As a downhill runner that has some movement, his high school coach compared him to Darian McFadden. Do you remember the Arkansas running back from?
How can you do that?
Darren McFadden.
Yeah,
that was so
I
great
remember
about
Darren
15.
McFadden. Yeah.
But apparently he has power, shake, and speed. He missed 3 games last year with a sprained ankle, but he still had 1,447 yards, and he averages about 10 yards a carry.
How did his team do? Did his team win a lot of games or what?
Don't know. If he comes back, there's some speculation the IMG Academy might grab him. But if he stays in Hartford, I would think his team's going to be a favorite to win the state championship.
But now he has not signed. He's just. This is just a commitment. It's not.
That's right. It's not binding. He says he's going to honor the commitment, but yeah, you're right. That's a good point. With these commitments,
if Florida State comes in there and says, "Hey, we'll let you play baseball," he might want to do that.
The early signing period now is in December, and that's the one that matters. So he can change his mind.
Yeah, no question about it. But they say he's always been an Alabama fan, and right.
He has a cousin that's on Alabama's team. That's a young player that I think was redshirted or.
We were talking about this last week. That guy, that young friend of his, probably is the reason we got him going to Alabama.
We signed him because we knew his cousin was going to be coming down
Exactly. And of course, I bet you a lot of that friend of his phone's been ringing off the hook on people saying, "Hey, let's get him to go to Auburn, or let's get him to go to Florida State, or whatever."
Well, I want to see him. I mean, I have heard so much about him. He might be the number 1 running back in the country, high school running back. He's got 1 more year. He'll be a senior.
Yeah.
But the number 1 running back his senior year in America was a guy named Najee Harris.
Yeah,
he worked out pretty good. Then before that, there was a guy named Derrick Henry.
That's right.
And he worked out all right.
No question about it. And of course, we joke about this, but it's a fact. Dixie Howell, the great Alabama football player, and back in the old days, he came out of Hartford, and Early Wynn, the Hall of Fame pitcher, came out of Hartford years and years ago, and of course
that's 2 good ones right there.
That sure was. And Bill Ross played for Coach Leon Hillier at Hartford High School, and later on played for Snow White and the Southern Dwarfs. Do you know who that is?
Leon Hillier coached in Hartford before he came.
Yeah, he coached in Hartford before he came to Troy. You learned something already today.
I tell everybody, watch this show. You're going to learn something.
But of course, Leon Hillier coached him, and he went on and played for Snow White and the Southern Dwarfs at Auburn.
What was Coach Hillier? He was
the captain of that team. Bill Ross was the captain of that team.
Didn't Coach Hillier really like basketball? Was that his favorite sport?
Oh yeah.
He probably coached them all, but
he could coach them all. But he was a basketball coach and one of the great ones. And you folks out there have heard of the Auburn Shuffle. Well, in high school basketball, Leon Hillier's team ran the shuffle better than anybody anywhere.
I bet.
And and of course Joel Eves was the Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs that played at Auburn. They played in that old barn over at Auburn.
Yeah, that burned down in
That's
the LSU
right.
football game.
And they had they won the SEC championship, and they were led by a young man out of Eufaula, Alabama.
Not surprising.
Eufaula, Alabama, and I'm waiting to hear somebody holler out through the.
Eufaula's got a pretty good basketball tradition.
Oh yeah, they do, and of course this was Henry Hart.
Okay.
Poe Devil. Now people are jumping up and said, "I remember Poe Devil. I remember Poe Devil. I played with Poe Devil. I played against Poe Devil." Henry Hart.
That was
Poe Devil from Eufaula, Alabama, led that team. Of course, there were several good players on that team. Rex Frederick was another one.
What year was that circle? I know you can't.
Well, that was in the late 50s. Late 50s.
That's not long after Alabama had the Rocket 8.
Yeah, that's right. And you know who their best player was? The Rocket 8. I can't tell you right now, but it'll get there. It's going through a little system, and it's been cut on that lately, so I don't know.
You got a good excuse.
You know, should I put my hat back on? I'm not showing much hair.
I like that look.
I tell you what, Little Caesars had the best pizza in town.
We got some this weekend.
You can get it hot and ready anytime at Little Caesars. It's a great pizza.
It is a great pizza. Great
really
price, too.
It. You're exactly right. The price is right. Probably the best meal in town from any
$5.99, I think,
place,
for a pepperoni pizza.
Any place for feeding your family, probably the cheapest place.
People that have kids know that they are the core of their business.
Yeah. We look, of course, in the Montgomery Advertiser's got some highlights from different players and some of the things they did in basketball. We're going to go over some of that. Of course, we're talking about Rick Pitino being Iona's basketball coach.
Where is Iona? Up in
New York, I would think. New Jersey, New York, somewhere.
Where is Gonzaga? I asked you the other day.
Gonzaga is from, I know that. I've been to Gonzaga. In fact, started to go to a game there one night. It is Spokane.
Washington.
Washington. My computer picked it up. And
well, I've heard it's a Jesuit school, Catholic school, little private Catholic school, and they've become a dominant.
My daughter and I went to a football game at Idaho. We went to a game there, and we spent the night in Spokane.
Okay.
Woke up the next morning, it was something like 7 or 8 degrees. Whew. But the night before, it was the opening of basketball season. And, they started ahead of most people back then. It was about 3 or 4 years ago. And we had an opportunity to go to that game, and we didn't go. We could have gotten, a guy I was going to have to pay for it. But I was.
It's a great story.
I've got a hat, and if they win the national championship, we'll give away that Gonzaga hat.
I mean,
their nickname is, you know?
Gosh, I should, but I don't.
The Bulldogs.
Okay.
The Gonzaga Bulldogs.
Speaking of Bulldog, a Bulldog just walked in.
Well, I thought, you know what? I thought he had quit us. I said he hadn't heard from him. I didn't know. I asked Raymond last night, had he cut his hair yet? And so we'll be bringing. And listen, he got the word that we were out of the donut holes. And I'm gonna tell you, and I'm not exaggerating. This bakery on the bypass is about as good as I've had. This is a wonderful donut.
They are wonderful. It's
pass them down here.
All right.
Come on up here, Tyler. We're gonna take a short break, and we'll be right back.
Sandy, I'm right here. Come on in.
Daddy, I'm right here. Hello, Miss Mary. I'm right here. I'm right here.
Since 1969, we've been right here because at Troy Regional Medical Center, we take these words to heart.
I'm right here.
Thank you. Remarkable people, remarkable care.
Trojan Auto Parts of Troy, home of Napa Know-How. Stop by and see owners Mike and Melissa Kilcrease and their Napa Know-How team with over 100 years of combined experience. We're the only locally owned parts store in Pike County, and we're fully stocked and ready to serve you. We pride ourselves on being your go-to parts store, not only for the simple items, but we specialize in those hard-to-find items as well. Trojan Auto Parts, the right part at the right price at the right time. Napa, a name you've trusted here in Troy since 1945.
Troy Cable Security Wi-Fi doorbell camera allows you to answer the door from your smartphone when you are at home, at work, or on the go. When a visitor presses the button, Troy Cable Security sends a live video feed to your smartphone so you can see, hear, and speak to the person at your door. With the doorbell camera, you can have your porch light turn on automatically when it detects motion at night to create the appearance that someone is at home. You can view video clips so you can always know who stopped by when you are out. Troy Cable Security. You love them, protect them.
A personal touch, a high level of trust. Whether it's checking and savings accounts, personal or business loans, or our local friendly service. That's what Troy Bank and Trust customers expect. But now we offer more. Free identity theft protection for our new and existing customers, protecting your family's time, money, and good name from identity theft. Because protecting your identity is now a big part of our identity.
Back to our show, and I'm eating a donut hole, and it is delicious, from Trojan Donuts on the bypass. And tell us about that, Doris.
Well, they
really
open each morning about 5 o'clock in the morning. They close at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and they have a variety of pastries. They also have coffee, cold milk,
they have
Coca-Cola. They got Yahoos. They got
Sun Drops?
No, they don't have Sun Drops.
They have sausage dogs, don't they?
They do. They have this long type of sausage dog.
Oh, I can eat
see
those.
the jalapeno. Well, it's got bread around it. I guess you take the bread off. But they have these sausage dogs that are either regular or a little bit of jalapeno in them, and they're pretty good.
We call Forrest the Sun Drop King. He loves his Sun Drops.
But another idea I got coming. Here's another idea. Of course, we're getting hair cut off this Friday. Raymond Ledford's going to cut
I saw
me and
Raymond
shave it.
last night and asked him about it.
Yes, this Friday, and it's a benefit for Kara Carter Hussey. She's a friend of ours. She's our piano player at Goshen, Little Oak, and Henderson Methodist Church. She's at MD Anderson out in Texas, going through some procedures. She had brain surgery about 2 weeks ago, and
she's still out there.
Still out there. Got some other procedures to take place, and we're just doing odd and end things, to help offset the cost. We do have a big chicken barbecue coming up the 1st of May, halfway between Troy and Luverne, just inside the Crenshaw County line. We'll tell you more about that later. But I decided about 3 or 4 weeks ago, hey, I'll just get my hair cut off, and maybe my Facebook friends.
We'll give a little donation.
And fraternity brothers, I think her sorority, she's a member of Chi Omega, Sound of the South, they're all linking it up. And they're sending gift cards and all that kind of stuff. And we have a Venmo account that they can send it to at Stephanie Snyder -93. Stephanie Snyder -93, or County Road 5840, County Road 2290, Goshen, Alabama. But you can get up with me. The radio did a big blurb last week. It was in the Troy Messenger, so you can find the information through those.
Now, what do? You want people to write you a check, give you cash?
Well, either way, they can
mail it to you.
They can go to TroyMessenger.com, or they can go to my Facebook, and they'll see all that information on there. But it's Stephanie's husband, Bart's a second cousin to Kara. Kara lives in the Elam Rogers community down there, and. But anyway, another thing I've got on in my agenda is I'm going to go to Walmart. They have about 10 or 12 seasoned skillets.
Yeah.
And I'm going to buy those skillets, and I'm going to make about 10 or 12 pecan pies and auction them you keep the skillet, and I think I'm going to ask no less than $50 a pecan pie. I've got plenty of pecans, but I'm going to go to Whaley's, probably get some more pecans. And
I've been cracking pecans in my house lately.
And plan on doing a little pie auction.
How did the fraternity do on their walk to Panama City Beach? Did they make it
over $95,000, about $90,000 ATO?
That is unreal.
Over $90,000.
In this economy, 90.
They need to find out who the ringleader of that.
Well, we had him on our show.
Yeah, I know. Was he the
he was the fundraiser.
He's the organizer of that. And see what they're doing right now. They're organizing for next year.
Yeah, that's
you know what? Troy University ought to hire this guy. I mean, this is phenomenal.
You know, they market it real good. Marketing's the key to it, and that's
college kids did a fundraiser that netted $90,000 for
where
the
did you find? I want to know where you found that extra large shirt that you could wear.
Dillard's.
That's a good-looking shirt.
I buy them about this time of year. They're on sale. I bought this one for about $15, and I've got a ton of these that I rarely wear because I usually are in a pair of short pants and a T-shirt for about 32 years.
Yeah. What I'm saying though, that's got to be a triple X, isn't it?
You are correct. Triple X XB, extra big, because I'm a big old boy.
Oh man!
And I'm gonna need some hats.
Yeah.
So
that's right.
210 Emerald Drive, Troy, Alabama. I'm gonna need some hats and sunscreen.
Or drop them by here and just put a little note on the sack and say this is for Forrest. You know.
Well, I hope everybody that's watching can at least donate $10.
And Rice, did who cut your hair? Raymond cut it?
Raymond's the lady that works for Raymond.
Okay, you got a haircut.
She does a great job. She don't mess around. She's fast. She cut my hair and little Jack Rice, 5-year-old's hair, and they were out of their little suckers they normally give to kids, but they had a bunch of candy canes, big old candy canes sitting there, and Raymond gave Jack about 5 big candy canes. And then after that, Jerry Vinson's always at Raymond's, and I saw Jerry, who was a great friend of my late uncle Bobby Rice. They went to high school together with Judge Green.
That's right,
Jerry
my brother
Vinson.
Bill was in the
probably
class.
circa class of 1953, Troy High School.
That's right.
And Jerry had some great old pictures of Troy, and he said, I want you to look at these. And so I went over to his office, and he did have some great pictures of a young Bobby Rice, Jerry Vinson, Riley Green, Carolyn Bird, etc., etc.
Softball.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
So I appreciate Jerry.
That's another nickname out there.
You know, his
Sister Bird, wasn't it?
He saved a lot of old pictures. And Mike, you might remember this. One thing we talked a lot about was these great trips that high school students used to take all over America, bus trips in the summer.
Sure.
Organized by a faculty member named Mr. Griffin, Stanley Wade Griffin.
Yeah, Stanley Griffin. Everybody loves Stanley Griffin. That's
these were famous trips. My mom went on several, and then they'd go to California on bus in 30 days. And Jerry went on a couple.
My wife went on some of those trips, too.
Well, I want to do a story on those trips because, I mean, you think of all the work that went into organize. He said they had something planned every day, every 5 hours. And I bet you everybody that went on one of those trips still fondly remembers those trips.
Well, let me tell you, you can get in trouble sometimes. One girl on one of the trips, I shouldn't even say this because she was just in the 8th grade, and they mailed her purse back to her, and her mama got in the purse, and there was a pack of cigarettes. Back then, they thought it was a cool thing to do, everybody did. Well, she found out to her that it wasn't a cool thing to do with her parents.
Busted.
But, that wasn't my wife or anybody I know. It was just a person that happened to. But it's good to have Forrest Lee back in the throttle, and of course Bill Rice Jr., two legends in their own mind.
Well, I'll skip forward from that legendary trips that Mr. Griffin organized to. When I was in high school, we didn't have such elaborate trips, but we always had a senior trip, usually to the Bahamas, always to the Bahamas, a cruise, and Betty Wagner was the one that always organized those, and everybody finally remembers those that was able to go.
Seniors always had a good trip.
I believe Pam Smith in the art department, they started going to Europe several times.
They still do it, and she's one of the best around.
Yeah, when I graduated from high school, our senior trip was to Montgomery to the bowling lanes. But I couldn't go because I had family and friends at the house.
Okay, yeah.
I think I got like 7 shaving kits.
You know, the only time
graduation presents.
The only time I've been to Disney World was on that senior trip. We went for 4 or 5 hours. We stayed in Kissimmee, Florida, on our way down to Miami to get on the boat. And that night, while we were in Kissimmee, we went to Disney World. So I got about 4 hours to see Disney World, which I think you need more than 4 hours to see Disney World.
Another nickname to believe in, Rice, is Toot.
Toot Green.
Toot Green. Now, how in the world do you get the nickname Toot?
You're right.
Toot Green.
Nicknames of people that you did not know their real name. Toot Green would be a good example.
That's right. And, of course, we were talking about coming up with people's nicknames. Well, that was one right there.
Toot is from Montgomery. She moved back she now lives in Montgomery, but one of the great Trojans. The mother of Carly, Riley, and B.
Do they all? I bet they all live in Montgomery. Is that right? Or do you know?
Her daughter, baby daughter, lives in Montgomery. Carly lives in Georgia somewhere, and then Riley lives in Birmingham area somewhere.
All right. Well, of course, we had a big weekend of baseball, and it was beautiful. I mean, the 3 days of beautiful weekend. Of course, Troy lost the first one to Tulane, and then came back and won just blew Tulane out on Saturday. But Tulane came back and blew Troy out on Sunday. So, but it was good for Troy. And again, we were talking about Alabama's coming in here tomorrow, but I'm worried about the rain. I don't know if they're going to get the thing in or not. And the forecast is rain, and they might. I hope they push it back to a different date. So
I wonder if they can move it up to tonight.
Well. I'm sure they could probably, but that would be a lot of trouble probably.
Well, I mean, if it's 100% rain, you might hurt your attendance a little, but word would get out.
Exactly right. Of course, we need to know something about spring breaks. Forrest, tell us about it.
Well, I have my notes at home. Let's see. Well, Troy University starts back today.
Yeah, they
and
start
back. So does Pike County Schools.
Oh, their spring break is over. God.
It's over. I think Pike Liberal Arts is not this Monday, but starts next Monday.
So that's the same time Charles Henderson's.
Something like that.
That's good. Those schools had them at the same time.
And I've got the women's softball. Did y'all have that?
No. Well, I know they won a doubleheader. Tell us about it.
Well, they won 5-0 against University of Texas Arlington. Then they won 4-1, and they swept them 10-2.
Yeah.
So their overall record, I believe, is 19-5.
You think about it. Of course, they lost to Auburn 3-0 the other night. But I noticed that Auburn turned around and let Alabama beat them twice.
3 times.
3 times. They won the whole series. And Troy's got a good. Listen, when you got the pitchers like Johnson and Baker, I think's the other one, and they got another one. When you got that kind of pitching, you got a chance to win in softball
on any given day.
And Johnson now pitched a beautiful game against Auburn the other day, but Auburn, they just 1 inning that they gave up a couple of walks and got some people on base, and that's how they lost the game.
I think Pike Liberal Arts, if you want to watch golf, they're having a match today. There's 90 golfers coming in at Troy Country Club. They're going to tee off about noon, and there's 90 golfers. Yeah. I think there's 5 or 6 teams who have a full team that are competing. Their head coach is Gene Allen from Greenville, Alabama. And
one of the best people I know is Gene Allen. He's a great guy.
I don't know all the golfers' names, but I know Jackson Cleveland is one of them. He's tied up to the Curvins, Delaney Curvin, I believe is his grandpa, granddaddy.
I seen them out there. They play together.
And but Charles Henderson has a good golfer. His name's Braden Presswood.
Yes, sir.
He won a tournament the other day, and I think the next day he shot like a 80 at the Robert Trent Jones in Greenville.
He plays out of the Brundage Country Club too, doesn't he?
He plays there. He played yesterday and did quite well. He played Saturday. And
He's
Sunday.
just a ninth grader.
Just a ninth grader.
Buddy, we got to watch him.
He's.
Boy, that Brundage Country Club has
And his
produced
daddy
some
and
great
his
golfers.
granddaddy are good golfers.
Mr. Danny Presswood's his grandpa, his granddaddy.
Yes, sir.
He has had 8 hole-in-ones at the Brundage Country Club.
8 hole-in-ones.
And his daddy is Josh. Is that his daddy?
No, Josh. Yeah, Josh is his daddy.
Yeah. Mr. Josh Presswood, and Braden's got a twin brother, Bradley, that's a baseball player.
Yeah. And he doesn't play golf. Is that right?
No, he plays baseball. And the other one, Noah, he's a baseball player. He's like a junior.
I wonder how these teams field a golf team when all their athletes are playing, especially baseball. I guess some of them can go and do both.
Well, you know, the Kilcrease kid, who's such a great athlete at Brantley, he's also a good golfer. And, but they find a way for them to play these tournaments.
That's what I'd do if I were even at Charles Henderson or Pike Liberal Arts or whatever. If I'm at a small school and I've got a baseball player golfer, we would schedule a golf match when we didn't have a baseball game.
Yeah.
And I'd let them play both. Yeah. I mean, because you only go around once.
You know, these major league players do it. They're playing golf during the season.
I missed out on the score on this game, but Charles Henderson played baseball this weekend, and
they won one and lost one. I see. I'm on Facebook friends with Dan Smith, and he's still taking great photos. And
do you know who they played? Do you remember?
Anthony Arrington, didn't he?
Yeah.
And Arrington. Okay, Arrington came to town, and
I think
they split a doubleheader.
They split a doubleheader.
I think Brantley beat them, and then they beat Arrington.
2 close games.
Yeah, I saw them beat Brantley the other night, 4-1. A beautiful pitching performance by Charles Henderson pitcher, and of course coming in relief was a guy that's pretty well known. His family is pretty well known in baseball circles. It goes back as far as anybody in this town. Is Huner. Brady Huner came in there and shut them out.
Yeah. Well, the first game they lost a close one, 13-12 against Brantley, and then they rebounded to defeat Ayrton.
Is this a high school?
This is high school. Charles Henderson. In Hogan. So this was Saturday. They defeated Brantley, defeated Charles Henderson 13-12, but in the nightcap, Charles Henderson defeated Ayrton 6-5.
Okay, well that was some good baseball, wasn't it?
Yes, sir. And,
I would have liked to watch both of those. You know,
I was going to see when the next game might be.
Because we're working on that schedule for the future of Pike Liberal Arts School. We're working hard on that schedule. One of them has to be Arrington. The other one has to be Long of Long High School of Skipperville. The other one would be Goshen. There'll be another one would be Providence Christian.
Yeah, Goshen's off to a
another
good start.
Another one would be what's the private school in Dothan? What's the county Dothan's in?
Houston
Academy. That's another one.
Mm-hmm.
But and also the Catholic
Northside Methodist.
Northside Methodist is another shoe in. These are teams that are right there together. That if they did make the jump, they could get in on these schedules.
Well, you look at Montgomery Academy and Trinity and Catholic. All those are private schools.
Catholic would be another one. Yeah.
And guess what? They're dominating 3A athletics.
They sure are.
Just about. And but today, Charles Henderson will travel to Dothan. They're going to play tonight against Providence Christian. Providence Christian now is in the public school.
Who is that playing there?
Charles Henderson is traveling to Providence Christian.
Okay.
Out of Dothan.
Okay,
and Providence Christian just recently joined the Alabama High School Athletic Association. I think they're in their second or third year.
That's where Kenny Keith is the coach, right?
Yeah.
The football coach.
I think they've been in there a little bit longer than that now. Providence Christian has. But a good program, and it'd be be wonderful to see Pike do something like that because of these. So, I mean, Selma. You go to Selma, it's gonna be 2.5 hours over there, 2.5 hours back.
I talked to somebody the other day.
Tuscaloosa, worse than that. About 3 hours over there and 3 hours back. These are games that they play.
You would have more of an opportunity as a parent.
You're right.
Many parents don't have the opportunity to go there, but then you have the opportunity to get off work and go to what you just said, the area. But
the other game, Lee Scott, a long trip to Lee Scott, 2.5 hours there and 2.5 hours back. Phoenix City, your other rival team, at least 2 hours over there, maybe 2.5, and 2.5 back. It just makes sense. It makes sense for them to do what we're talking about.
Well, I look at it from the academic side of the house too. They're in school more.
Yeah, exactly.
They can stay in school longer.
You're exactly right.
And leave at 3 and be where you need to play, as opposed to leaving at 10 or noon to get to where you need to play.
And then these, what is our latest school that we called out yesterday or Friday on our show? There's a new school that we had no idea about that jumps in there to that schedule, but it is really the most logical thing that they could do is to play it'd be a private school enrollment. Is that right? And then you would actually get into the private school. You would play a public school schedule.
Well, you call it the public school league, but I bet you now that it'd be interesting to learn how many private schools are in the Alabama High School Athletic Association. I would say 30, wouldn't you say? Probably
more.
Probably more.
Exactly. And
a lot of them in Mobile.
Yeah. Even
Montgomery.
Exactly. Even Hooper is an hour and 15 minutes, hour and a half to Hooper. And then the same way that Tauga Academy and way on the other side of Prattville. Well,
I'm sure they are. Don't you think? I'm sure it's being discussed and has been for years.
I don't know if it has or not, to tell you the truth.
I've heard little birdie told me that it has been.
Well, it's too much of on paper. It's the way to go. The way I look at it,
I don't have a dog in this fight, so to speak, but you look at the pros and the cons, and you look at tradition and being loyal to the AISA, which has been
over 50 years. Over 50 years.
Escambia Academy, where my good friend is the coach. 2 hours, 2.5 hours over there, and 2.5 hours back, or 3 hours from Escambia Academy in Canoe, Alabama. That's right near Pensacola. About 10 miles from Pensacola. So, you're right. It makes all the...
If I was a parent and I had athletes, boys and girls now, and then you're going to be following your kids, what y'all are talking about, the travel, that would definitely appeal to me. And I'm thinking basketball and baseball, especially,
very
softball.
Yeah.
Because there's so many scheduling opportunities in those sports. In football, you're kind of somewhat limited to what region they put you in. But how many games do you play in region, and how many do you get to play of just anybody?
You're talking about Parkland Arts?
If you play a 10-game schedule, you've got
6 or 8, I believe.
Yeah. So then you get 4 to 2 games.
Here's another thought. Okay, high school athletics. Play who you want to play during the regular season, private school or public. Let them interplay. Then at the end of the year, when you have the playoffs, have a private school playoff. If you're this enrollment, you've got those guys are playing for the state championship. You got these guys playing for the state championship in the private school sector at the end of the year. Then the other ones, like your public schools, have their divisions, the 1, the 2, the 3A, but you all can play each other. But at the end of the year, the private schools can have their state championship, and the public schools can have their state championship, because I think, like Georgia, you even have a Christian association that during the playoffs, you can play each other during the regular season, but in the playoffs for the state championship, Certain schools play each other for
right.
that state championship.
Yeah, you can do it that way.
I think you ought to do
Well,
it that way.
I'll
But it's
tell
going
you.
to take two coming together to do that.
I'll tell you this, that's ridiculous as far as I'm concerned. This is a no-brainer. Evergreen, Sparta Academy, 2 hours, through Evergreen, about 2 hours there, and then over there, 2 hours, back 2 hours. It's just.
Have you been in a lot of these gyms from your old basketball referee
I've been
days?
to every one of them. I've been to every one of them. I know how far it is over there. And, I mean, there's some other schools that you could play. You could play Georgiana if you wanted to, but though I've given you a schedule in that area.
What I like
in
is
this area, and it was
I
very
like the
competitive.
baseball prospect because you hear Charles Henderson is playing Aridon and Brantley regularly. I mean, Charles Henderson is a much bigger school.
Yeah.
So Pike Liberal Arts could play much bigger. They could play Charles Henderson. Boy, you don't think that wouldn't sell some tickets?
They could play them right now.
They could play.
You're right.
Well, they could play anybody. They could play Enterprise, Andalusia, Op,
exactly.
Greenville.
Yeah.
You can compete with them and win more often than not.
You can, but just in that Wiregrass area though, it's just it just makes all the sense in the world. I hate that if you're a private school person out there, you still got an open door policy for anybody to come to school here. That's just the way it's set up, and anybody can apply to go to school there, and at the same time play a schedule that is conducive for travel. I mean, this other deal is.
I like the concept of these smaller schools like Crenshaw Christian Academy, Pike Liberal Arts. Those, and like Rehoboth, they're fixing to have to probably bust up into another school because they're just getting big. But when you have another school, it gives those kids an opportunity to play football, basketball, baseball, some volleyball, golf, tennis, cheerleading, whatever. So now those kids are involved in a competitive sport.
This is good for them, yeah.
And if you're at a big school, then your chances of participating dwindle because of
numbers.
The numbers.
Yeah. It's a numbers game. You're right.
Well,
I mean, if you go to Prattville High School, which has probably 1,500 students in each grade, close. What's your chances of making the baseball team?
Oh, not very well.
You better be good.
Yeah.
Fast, strong, and can hit the ball and throw it.
Yeah. And I'm not even talking about the other schools that are so far away, but I'm just saying somebody will right. I mean, just looking at this rationally, it is a no-brainer as far as I'm concerned. This would be a super thing for the school, and it would be a super thing for the scheduling and athletics, especially for the school.
Another interesting thing, Mike, would be, after this, when this next school year starts, about, I guess, November, December, they're going to start drawing the new classifications.
That's right.
And it wouldn't surprise me if Charles Citizen dropped back down to 4A, because they're very small, 5A. Goshen may drop to a 2A. So it's going to be interesting after this school year to see what happens where they get classified next.
You think Goshen might drop? Isn't Goshen growing?
I don't know how the dynamics.
Their numbers in football are real good because the coach makes the game fun. He really does a super job of getting the kids to come out.
Yeah, well, Goshen's a very small 3A. When you go from 2 to 3A, you jumped in with Montgomery Academy, Catholic Trinity, Pike County High School, and COVID. And you're just in a downswing of athletes, and it was a tough year. But now I bet there's
a big part
of coming up.
Winning state championships is what classification you're in. You're right. It's a numbers game. I'm still proud of the fact.
I'm not trying to hurt anybody. I'm just saying what's so logical, especially if you've got a kid and you're a parent. I don't want my kid being bused 3 hours one place to play a basketball game and 3 hours back home. I don't want that for my child. I want it where I can reasonably drive down to Arrington or drive down to Long or Skipperville or wherever and play a competitive game and come back home.
I like to, talking about classifications, I'm proud of the fact that I was on the state championship team that won the state championship in the 3A classification, but there were only 4 classifications back then. Now we have 7.
That's right.
I think there are approximately 500 public school, high schools. So when Charles Henderson won that state championship, they really, in Class 3A, there were probably 120, 25 teams that we were competing against compared to 60, 65 today. So we had to beat a lot more.
That's right.
Teams. Makes that state championship has a little more luster to me.
Well, and I'm not saying that some of the sports in the Alabama Private School Association are not good competitive in these brackets and everything, in these tournaments, but hey, this other, though, it seems like it's just so much more unreasonable as far as travel to these.
Well, it would be a huge deal because it would have implications for not only Charles Henderson and the high schools, but all the public schools around. There would be parents that would look at Pike a little differently if they were playing in the same sports league, I think.
Well, I'm going to change gears. I think it's time for Charles Henderson High School to have a brand new spanking school from top to bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere where it's located, or out there on the bypass, or off the bypass, but I think, all your buildings are, one's over there, one's over there, one's over there. I just think we need some new facilities.
I was looking at
Charles High School.
Pike County High School's built, built that new facility out south of, just south of Troy. If they've got enough property out there, could be conducive to having a
high
school comprehensive. I don't know if that might happen, but
what I'm saying though, if you had enough room to build a football stadium and a baseball stadium, and those and already academic.
Yeah, I tell you what. Now this is personally, I like the atmosphere when Luverne has a big time game. Say it again, Luverne versus Brantley, Skipperville, G.W. Long versus Ayrton.
That's right.
Pike County versus Goshen, whoever. In those stadiums where you're in a bowl and you're packed, and there's a hot dog stand. I love that atmosphere compared to what is at Troy University, because the crowd, to me, cannot be a factor in the game because you're so spread out. Yeah. It's nice to play on that field, don't get me wrong, but I love the Luverne, Brantley.
But, a function of that is how successful your sports program is, because if you had the winning teams, in tradition, the fans would come back. I'm here to tell you that in 1980, as Mike Amos will remember, you went to a Charles Henderson Eufaula game, Elba game, Op game. Memorial Stadium was on the Troy side was 70% full. There were 8,000, 9,000 people at high school games. And now I would say that there's 2,000.
Yeah, I don't even know if it's that much. It really isn't. And our bands, I'm also very concerned about our marching band program. I just believe that Charles Henderson ought to march at least 150 kids. And their involvement with their parents and so forth. That's a good program that we don't seem to be addressing.
Yeah, you're right.
The Blue Machine. I think I counted 35. I counted 35 people in Charles Henderson band.
Oh, that is.
That was that one game.
Now you talk about comparison to the past. That is kind of sad.
My recommendation is talk to your 2 band directors and get their thoughts. There might be some underlying scheduling factors.
Yeah. I've heard that.
That's all I'll say.
And it could be, and I run into this scheduling.
Change the schedule. Change the stupid schedule. This block scheduling might have something to do with it.
Yeah. Of course, where the show is brought to you. This show is brought to you by Premier Dodge Dodge, and of course, and Ram trucks, and we appreciate them so much. My good friend Jason Gregory and all the folks out at Premier Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, and Ram trucks right here in Troy.
What high school did he graduate from? Jason Gregory?
It's over in Columbus, Georgia. Wasn't it?
It's correct. Starts with a P.
I don't know.
Pacelli.
Yeah, it's Pacelli. Yeah. But there's another one over there.
Oh, there's a ton.
No, there's another pretty big one. George Little's son went there.
You know, getting back to the band, y'all tell me if I'm wrong. When I was in school, you had 6 periods of school. And you had an elective, which was a sport or extracurricular activity. It was, for some, it was football, and for some, it was band. So everybody that was in the band had a period where they could practice in the band. Same with football. You could lift weights and work. And I've heard that they don't have that anymore. They have 4 schedules, and you don't have the flexibility with the extra period. So if we're losing band students because of that, the solution is go back to 6 schedules and let the kids be in the band.
Okay, and today we've got
at the younger level.
Do it in junior high too, in middle school. Yeah.
We have our outstanding members of our community, and of course I was talking to our mayor not long ago, and everything's positive. I like to talk to people that have a positive attitude and so forth, and I think we're on the right trail to doing some things positive in our community. And one thing is to take a look at this scheduling situation at Pike Liberal Arts. Of course, we appreciate all of our folks for Wiley Sanders Truck Lines right here in Troy. They're coming up in just a few minutes.
Sisters, whoo, that'd be a good place to eat today.
Yeah, that's right.
Are they open on Monday?
I love their bacon, and I can take their same bacon out of their refrigerator and go fry it in my house. It doesn't taste the same. And Wales Advisors, Colin McCrary, I believe he was at the golf tournament this weekend, and that golfer, Justin Thomas, won $2.7 million. Roll Tide. Isn't he from Alabama?
Yeah, played at Alabama.
He won by one stroke. And the guy who finished second, was it Webb Simpson?
No,
Lee Westwood.
Lee Westwood.
Yeah.
He won at second place.
1.6
or $7 million.
Oh man!
And his girlfriend is his caddy.
Is that his girlfriend?
That's his fiance. Yeah.
Yeah. He's 47, 48 years old, and he's considered old man,
He made some clutch putt after clutch putt, but he finally missed one on number 17, and that opened the door for Justin.
And then, though, when he was sitting there, with nothing to play for, he made that putt, and look at over $800,000 difference in the money.
It was.
When he made that putt.
That was $800,000 putt.
Yeah, right.
You need to go check Jack and carry out the scoop.
Exactly
What's
right.
the little girl?
Let's just say this.
Go check him out. Scoop.
It's great to be a professional golfer.
You know what, though? I would rather be a Major League Baseball player and get one of these $100 million contracts. You got to do a lot of work to make that money in golf. It's tough, buddy.
Now, I want to mention, too, that Auburn starts spring practice this morning, and what do y'all think? What do the Tigers look like?
They got a good coach. They're going to be. It might take a year or two,
give
but
them some time. I think they'll rock and roll. And good luck to Zach Etheridge, except when you play Alabama.
In the Montgomery Advertiser, this is the bracket. So get your bracket and let's have fun with it.
Does that start this week?
Yeah, it starts this week.
Starts this week.
Well, the play-ins actually start on Tuesday, I think. I want to say.
Wow.
And
tomorrow.
I've got a friend of mine that called me up last night, and he said, "Let's go to the tournament." So I might be calling you from Indianapolis,
really?
Indiana.
So the Lady Trojans?
No, not the Lady Trojans. The Alabama group, but I'll keep up with the Lady Trojans. Remember tonight. This is very important. Tonight at the stadium, at the
arena,
the Trojan Arena.
5:30.
We've got our basketball selection brackets. They're gonna tell us who Troy's gonna be playing, and in women's basketball, and where they're gonna be playing.
San Antonio. All of them is gonna be in San Antonio.
San Antonio, and
Texas.
We'll find out tonight, and it's gonna be free food and free.
Let's go out and support those ladies and thank them for what a fantastic program they have created, not just this year, but for several years in a row now.
That's right. It'll be a great time for you to get those kids outside and have it running around.
Right,
That'll be a lot of fun. So that's tonight, starting around 5 o'clock. I'm throwing that date out. The show,
Rigby.
The show starts at 6, I think, on TV. But you can watch it at home, but more important, you can watch it at Troy.
And maybe get on TV.
See all the
fanfare,
the fanfare and everything, yeah.
Get you a free sandwich.
Hope you have a great day, and we'll see you tonight at the Trojan Arena. Have a great one.
At the Piggly Wiggly, we proudly support our local farmers and bring you the best they have to offer, all at cost plus 10%. When you shop local, you reinvest in your community. Remember, buy local, shop local. Piggly Wiggly, local since forever.
A personal touch,